So you guys know when you board a flight, there's anticipation, there's sometimes excitement, there can be a certain level of anxiety. The truth is that we put our trust in the hands of the pilot and the crew when we get on board these aircraft. But what if you got sick on a flight? Would you be safe? And could you trust the airline to take care of you in case of an emergency? Our guests today, say that there is cause for concern. Their daughter, Brittany Oswell, boarded an American Airlines flight from Hawaii to Dallas, healthy and happy. But mid-flight, she suddenly became very ill. Watch this. In 2016, 25-year-old Brittany Oswell and her husband Corey were returning from Hawaii when about 3 hours into their Texas-bound flight, Corey says Brittany began feeling dizzy and disoriented. A flight attendant identified a doctor on board who examined Brittany and thought she may have had a panic attack, but it soon became clear something more serious was going on. Brittany was going in and out of consciousness, and according to the lawsuit, she stopped breathing. Unable to find a pulse, the flight crew and doctor took turns administering CPR and tried to use a defibrillator, but according to the lawsuit, the equipment did not work.
When the doctor began to treat Brittany, the blood pressure cuffs did not work, and there was a point where Brittany went into cardiac arrest on the plane, and the defibrillator did not function properly.
The doctor requested flight diversions to get Brittany immediate medical attention, according to the lawsuit, which also claims the crew did not heed those pleas for help, and instead of landing early in Albuquerque, flew for an hour and a half more to the final destination.
No indicators when she boarded the plane, and then she left the plane on a stretcher.
After landing, Brittany was taken to a hospital where 3 days later, she was declared brain dead.
The concept that you would fall into distress of this nature and a doctor would ask for immediate help and it would not be granted, those are the types of questions that we would like answered.
Joining me now, Brittany's mother and father, Chris and Tina Starks, are here, along with their attorney, Brad Crenshaw. Thank you all so much for being here. So sorry for the loss of your daughter. She was 25 years old?
25. Mm-hmm.
What was she doing in Hawaii?
Her husband was in the military, and they were based in Hawaii.
Okay. And she was coming home for a visit, or what was she going to Dallas for?
They actually were coming home to stay. So he had done his tour there, and they were looking forward to coming home, being with us, starting her new job as a nurse in Columbia, South Carolina, and then this happened. So we got her home, but not in the way we wanted to get her.
You've learned this story from her husband and from others on board the plane, or mostly just from the husband?
Mostly from the husband.
Yeah.
And what does he say happened in terms of the severity? Because I know it started with she was dizzy and she wasn't feeling well, but it just seemed to get so severe so quickly. How did he describe that to you?
Our son-in-law, Corey, gave us a call. We actually talked to Brittany that morning when she boarded the plane, in good spirits, excited. And, she said, "Hey, Mama, I'm on the plane." And I said, "Okay, baby, we'll see you. We'll talk again when you land."
She was fine.
She was fine, totally fine. And so when they were supposed to connect on Dallas, we were supposed to get a call from Brittany. We didn't get the call from Brittany, but we got the call from Corey, our son-in-law. And his voice was very different, very different, and said that we needed to get to Texas immediately because Brittany got ill in flight. And so I said, "What do you mean she got ill?" Well, he said, "Well, she lost consciousness." And at the time, we didn't have any more details. She actually lost heartbeat. She went into cardiac arrest. Just a myriad of things started to happen very quickly.
There was a doctor on board, a female doctor, who started attending to her. And according to the lawsuit that you've now filed against American Airlines, that doctor repeatedly said to the flight crew, "You need to land this plane early," as the doctor saw Brittany deteriorate. And And what's the allegation, Brad, that American crew, that the pilot blew that off, did not
Well,
take that seriously?
Let's say this, and I'll stick to the four corners of the lawsuit, but we have spoken with individuals on the plane. This is part of our lawsuit. There was a private doctor on the plane who tended to Brittany. Corey was there also, and the doctor at a point asked that the plane land, asked 3 separate times that the plane land. And the questions that we
And
have,
it was near Albuquerque, New Mexico, so it could have landed, is your contention.
that's where we pin our hopes, was in Albuquerque. And for some reason, and it's a question we have, and it's what our lawsuit addresses, why didn't the pilot land the plane?
They haven't given you an answer on that?
You know, they called a doctor on the ground, and part of my lawsuit, and they asked a doctor 1,000 miles away what to do, and they continued on with the flight, and there was my client 10 feet away on the floor of the cabin, and they chose not to land the plane. And those are the questions that I have for American Airlines.
Was that after they had tried to use the defibrillator on her? I mean, were they refusing to land after they realized this was life or death?
Those are the allegations that we made, yes.
I mean, it's hard to comprehend, right? That an airline crew would make any decision other than to land. Do we know what happened to her? Do we know what caused all of that?
It was a pulmonary embolism that she developed during the flight, and that's why we're all here with you today.
And so she passed.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're left with questions.
Exactly.
And what is it that you want people to know?
That we're left without a daughter and no reasons why. They haven't told us why they wouldn't divert the flight. They just, nothing. We know nothing. So we want to know what happened.
You're entitled to answers.
Yes.
We reached out to American Airlines. They expressed that they are deeply saddened by this event. They said our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to Ms. Oswell's loved ones. We take the safety of our passengers very seriously. And they say we are looking into the details of the complaint. But can I ask you, how long ago did this happen?
April 15, 2016 is when we got the call.
2016.
Yes, the
Yeah.
day our life changed forever.
So, I mean, do you feel like they should have the answers to what happened by now?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's been 2 years,
Absolutely.
and they haven't even given the answers to you?
No, we've never heard from American Airlines.
This
Really?
process, we're in federal district court, and we anticipate their answer here shortly. So I look forward to hearing what American Airlines has to say about this case.
Well, that's the thing about litigation and lawyers. You know, suing somebody can get a bad name and lawyers can get a bad name, but you know what? It can also get you real answers when you're not able to get them through the traditional and acceptable and perfectly normal means. So all the best to you and your family. Thank you for telling her story.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and best to Corey as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. We'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.